Good morning, Top Fan Rivalry followers. It is your big homie, Big Dave. That is the jelly to my peanut butter baseball bill. We are here with another episode of Can of Corn, chock full of nutrients and baseball nuggets to get you through your day. Bill, how the heck are you today?
I'm wonderful. I mean, I know I'm a little soggy around the midsection, but do you have to call me jelly? I mean, come on.
Hey,
You
I
know,
mean,
can you?
look, we'll cut the crust off and we'll call it even, okay?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right.
Listen, I walked over 400,000 steps in January. I mean, I'm trying to stop being a little jelly around the side. I mean, you called for an Uber, right?
Hey, as long as I got gas in the car, I'm not walking nowhere, buddy. This is Texas. We don't go on short walks around here, okay?
Giddy up, giddy
Yeah.
up.
Look,
All right.
everything aside, I'm feeling good this morning, Bill. You know why I'm feeling good this morning? And he fell off his chair. No. Look, as of time of recording, it is now 15 days until pitchers and catchers report. If you smell it, you can smell the fresh cut grass in Arizona and Florida. That's right. Spring training baseball is on the horizon, and I couldn't be happier to see what goes on this season.
100%. I'm excited too.
Got a
It's gonna be
couple of
fun.
nice topics here tonight, man. Um, I'd be remiss if we didn't speak about my most favoriteest team in the whole wide world. That's right, the good guys, the two-time World Series champion Houston Astros.
Texas Rangers.
And they're no, they've only got one. Sorry,
My bad. My bad.
they're
Sorry, I
yeah,
just
they're
jumped in there.
no.
I'm done.
Yeah, and this will be the last episode Bill is on. Please submit your applications for co-host to Dave at topfanrivalry.com.
Take
That
naps.
being said,
Naps.
I must speak about the elephant in the room, which is the Astros and their ever evolving lineup. Um, we've made a couple of key moves this season. Of course, Kyle Tucker would have been an unrestricted free agent next year. So the writing was on the wall. I don't think we were going to sign him. So we went on and pulled the trade, sent him to Chicago. He'll be a Cubby. And in return, we got Isaac Paredes, right-handed pitcher Hayden Wesneski, and top prospect, third baseman of the future, Cam Smith. Um, we also snagged Christian Walker out of the National League, much to your chagrin. He will no longer be a Dodger killer full time. He'll play first base. Paredes will move to third because Bregman was not going to be in the picture. We'll get to that in a minute. Um,
Mhm.
that'll solidify an infield with 2022 World Series MVP Jeremy Pena and the greatest Astro of all time. That's right, the MVP himself, Jose Altuve. Um, Look, so we made a bunch of moves, right? And I think the moves were made because the thought is that Bregman, it was a foregone conclusion that Bregman and Scott Boras were going to move on from Houston. He
Mhm.
wanted a multi-year deal, 6 years in excess of 30 million. And let's be honest, the market is what the market is. Okay. Adamas and Chapman, I think, got somewhere around 26 mil. And aging Bregman, I don't think was going to top that 30 mil. So now that nobody has made any moves on him. It seems that the Tigers have fallen idle on Bregman as well. So the talks came up last week here in town that a reunion here in H Town was still possible for Bregman. Now, while that makes me happy, I love Bregman. I'd love to see him back. Gold Glove third baseman, regressing a little bit at the bat. This is not 2018 Alex Bregman, but 90% of Alex Bregman is still better than 50% of the rest of the league, in my opinion. Um, Numbers lie, stats are mostly made up. But anyway, here's the thing. We also recently parted ways with one of the best closers in Astros history. I'm sure he'll go down as an Astros Hall of Famer when it's all done. But Ryan Stressley Presley waived his no trade clause, and opened up to a trade to join Kyle Tucker in Chicago at the Cubs. We got back a pitcher in that deal, and we sent cash considerations to what I would only see as a cash dump. in hopes that maybe bringing Bregman back. But Bill, let me tell you, while I would enjoy a Bregman reunion, the ramifications of this are gonna you talk about a monkey wrench. We brought Paredes in thinking he was gonna play third because Bregman was gone, right? Which I'm not mad at because although he had a subpar season in Chicago, the reason I think we brought him in is because most, if not all, of his home runs are to left field. And of course, the Crawford boxes is the shortest, if not one of the shortest left fields in baseball. So I'm hoping for him to be parking 25 over that fence. But that being said, if Bregman comes back, of course, the gold glover will remain at the hot corner. I don't see Jeremy Pena going anywhere at short. That would move Paredes to second with Christian Walker at first, and thus begins the experiment with Altuve in left field, possibly splitting time with DH with Jordan. Thank you, LA Dodgers, Alvarez. Bill, do you see Altuve being able to make that switch a la Craig Biggio when Jeff Kent came into town? If while I'm going and get the short jab out. I know it's coming. If you're gonna play left and you're not used to it, I think left field in Houston, the ice box, no longer Minute Maid, Dyken Park, wouldn't be a bad option. What do you think? I mean, he could play the wall, and he doesn't have to have an extreme arm out there. I wouldn't be against it. I just think it would be a couple of growing pains. Do you think he could pull it off?
Altuve is a natural athlete, so do I think he can pull it off? Yeah. Do I think that he is, do I think that that's a good move for him? I honestly don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know, but the one thing the two things that I do think, one, I think A, he's capable of doing it, but B, I love the willingness for him to do it when he is saying, "Hey, I'm a team player. I'm gonna move where I need to move." So I like it.
Well,
I mean,
he went on the record. I mean, this is a lifelong Astro, and he's never really came out and said anything to this nature. But at the end of last season, he was really adamant about bringing Bregman back. So I totally believe that he would do whatever would be in the team's best interest. And like you said, if anybody can do it, the guy's a natural born athlete. The
100%.
greatest one of the greatest second basemen of all time. Say what you want about scandals and whatever, but you
Nope.
know what? I mean, I'm not against it, man. I think a lineup with all those guys in it would be deadly. I'm also not against if Bregman comes back. Maybe we move Paredes.
Yeah.
Man. The Yankees are still looking for a third baseman. I heard. They got a short left porch. Who
Yeah.
knows? But my point is, we're making money here in town, and this goes out to my boy Jim Crane. Okay, we're filling up the ice box. I've got to get used to that. The Minute Maid Park, RIP. But we're going to the postseason. We're making all this extra money. Let's bring them back. I think. Call me a homer. Call me weird, but I think he would play better here. Just I think the fit is better. It's more comfortable. Now selling his house maybe have been a problem, but I'm not against it, man. So we've got
So
some things to see. Hopefully, if you'd asked me a week ago when the news first dropped that a reunion was possible, I was like 80% he's coming back. But now they're still talking about him wanting 30 mil a year. And I just don't see anybody paying that. Like I said, the market is what the market is. So it'll be fun to see what happens in the next coming weeks.
here's the thing. So there's two things. Number one, from an economic standpoint, right? You got to dance with the one that brought you there. And so he's had nine very good seasons in Houston, or seasons in Houston. Houston made him a very good deal. Well, he decided to dump the girl that he went to the prom with in hopes that the head cheerleader would go dancing with him. And so far, the head cheerleader said no. So if he comes back, how does that play in the clubhouse? There might be a little animosity there, especially if he doesn't sign before the 15th of February, when pitchers and catchers report. I mean, when all the whole team reports, then you've got
Yeah,
an
no,
issue.
it's going to be interesting. It's funny. Scott Boras is probably one of the best agents in the game if you are a superstar. If you're not a superstar, the proof has been in the pudding lately that some of these deals get drug along. See
Yeah,
Jordan Montgomery, see Blake Snell. I could go on, but it
yeah.
should be fun, you know. But
The
anyway, I
the other
digress.
thing, the other thing I want to say about Bregman is I can smell the hometown cooking there because Alex Bregman, I won't tell you these numbers. I pulled three third basemen, one from the 80s and then two current ones. One is Alex Bregman, one is not Alex Bregman, or two are not Alex Bregman, one is. So one of the players hit on average. Now he played 15 seasons so far. He's played 15 seasons. Had a very bad towards the end of his 15 seasons. He ended his career averaging 26 home runs a season, 100 hits, and 59 RBIs. Now, granted, the last three seasons for him have been very, very rough due to injury. Another one hit 21 home runs on average, 125 hits, 74 RBIs on average. The other one hit 29 or 28 home runs on average, 152 hits, 94 RBIs. Okay. Which one stands out to you the most?
Alex Bergman.
You know what? Yeah. Alex Bregman was number two.
I,
Doug
I'll
DeCin-
take I'll take $1.
Doug
Um,
DeCince was number one.
uh,
He hit 26 home runs in his 26 home runs on average, 100 hits and 59 RBIs. His last three seasons that he played were injury ridden.
yeah.
But Alex Bregman hit 21 home runs on average, 125 hits, 74. And then I compared him against Nolan Arenado, and Nolan Arenado has much better.
Yeah, I worry because Bregman's a notoriously slow starter, and of course, getting in late to camp's not going to help him anywhere. But
They're
if
not
it
going to help you
be
guys.
well, if it would be here, I think it would be an easier slide back in, even if it's late.
Hmm. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So
Yep, yep.
but we'll see, man. Like I said, it's interesting to see if Altuve has to go out to the outfield and split time with the phenom that is Yordan Alvarez. Speaking of Yordan Alvarez. We got Mike over at Heads Up Sports Cards and Top Fan Rivalry have teamed up to do another box break. This time we've got a box of Don Russ from 2022. And you know who is in there. I'd like to take a second and thank the entire LA organization on all of Southern California for sending us Yordan Alvarez over here to the Astros. So sign up. I hear
Yeah,
that the Astros are still available. I've got it on good authority, but you
yeah.
don't have a lot of time to sign up. You can go on and grab them and take your chance at getting a Yordan Alvarez rookie card.
So what Dave directly translated, he said he's not buying the Astros. So go out and get it.
I'm just saying I'm giving people a chance.
They,
Okay, don't
so
say
you're
that Dave is
seeing
not
there's
for
a
the people.
chance.
That's right. There, I have a timer. I like to slide in and snipe people at the very end, so you've got your chance. Okay, but yeah, there's a lot of great players in 2022, and as always, Mike does a phenomenal job with these box breaks.
Yes.
Highly
He really does.
entertaining, and I mean, I've gotten a couple of them from him, and the cards are shipped immaculately and bubble wrap mailers with extra cards around them to make sure that your cards, your precious cargo, makes it to you safely. So definitely
Yep.
go on over to topfanrivalry.com in the shop there and get your chance at the
Yeah.
box break.
Yeah. Get it. Yeah.
All right. So let's move on again to the next one. I'm going to throw you a bone here. I'm going to designate an entire segment here to the team that everybody loves to hate now. That's right, the new evil empire, um, the Los Angeles, we pay everybody Dodgers. Okay. So let's just be
Yeah.
honest. You've signed every free agent. I think you guys just signed Saquon Barkley too from the Eagles. I don't know how you did
I
that,
think
but
we did.
yeah,
He's on a show me contract
yeah,
though.
no, I'm telling you, I don't know how you pulled it off, but kudos to you. You're probably not paying him until 2087 anyway. So, um, on paper, This has the makings of being one of the greatest teams of all time, and that's just because I'm a realist. Okay,
Right.
baseball is a game of numbers, and numbers don't lie. You guys covered a lot of holes in the off season.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
um, let's forget that on paper you've probably got the greatest starting rotation of all time coming out.
Mhm.
Okay,
All
however, Bill,
time.
I'm just saying. I mean, you got
Yeah.
Shohei, Yama, Snell, Glasnow, and then you got the rookie. Oh God, what's his name?
Roki.
We yeah. So I mean, that's astronomical when your fifth guy is potentially the rookie of the year. So
Tyler Glass now.
yeah. Well, I think I wouldn't be surprised if they put Tyler at four.
Yeah. I mean, you got Yami, you got Shohei, you got Roki, you got Blake Snell, you got Tyler Glass now. We're going to re-sign Clayton Kershaw. Don't forget about Dustin May. Don't forget about Tony Gonsolin. Don't forget about Landon Knack. I
Okay,
mean,
okay. Look, let me stop you there because you could go on for an hour talking about people you signed. Okay. Jeez. Um,
Charizard?
signing Snell, you signed Tanner Scott, you signed Kirby Yates, um, and
Yep.
on offense, you brought back Teoscar, you extended Tommy Edman, and Korean baseball star Haesung Kim. I mean, you've covered all the holes, right?
Mhm.
But wait, I think I see the chink in the armor. I
Mhm.
think I found the weakness, people.
Well, wait a
Okay.
second. You forgot to mention that we signed Houston native George H.W. Bush. We signed him too. He's coming out of his retirement and
Yeah,
he's going to
let's
play
be
for
honest. I
us.
think that was strictly to sell tickets or something because I heard his arm isn't what it used to be. Um, I think that it came down to him or the left-handed bat boy out of Oakland, who's out of
Yeah.
a job now. So I think
Yeah.
that's where that was. But I think if I could see the only weakness, I would think that it would be the defense. Um,
Possibly.
like I said,
Possibly.
if there's any chink in the armor, you know. I think Teosco and Conforto lack a little bit of range. Um, your center fielder Edmund, obviously, he's a better infielder than an outfielder. But I mean, you've got Mookie there. How does Mookie progress at playing second? Max Muncy, when healthy, he's fine at third. But like again, when healthy, Bill, what do you think? Is that the weakest link in what could be the juggernaut?
Probably. Because there's no there when you look at the lineup, there's no part of the lineup that really just bothers me, right? Probably something that most people don't know, and I don't know if you know this, Dave. Mookie Betts was drafted as a second baseman. The Boston Red Sox moved him to right field because they had one Dustin Pedroia, and Mookie's got that arm out there. Um, you know, if I'm Dave Roberts, I'm not telling Dave Roberts what to do. The guy's been to four World Series and won two of them. So I'm not going to tell him what to do. Uh, if I had my wits about me, Tommy Edman would be playing short, Mookie would be playing second, and you'd start Andy Paez in center field. The guy struggled throughout the season, but it was his first campaign. So listen, those the you're obviously got a great you're not being a homer, but we're putting together a Hall of Fame first baseman in Freddie Freeman. Okay. Mookie Betts will probably make the Hall. And Will Smith is, if he plays long enough, he's going to have some serious numbers to go along with potential Hall of Fame voting. So, yeah. But
Let's
yes,
not get ahead of ourselves. We'll save Hall of Fame talk for a little bit in there. But
yep,
I
yep,
mean, I agree with you. Haesung Kim figures to be at least as good as Gavin Lux was, if
mhm,
not better.
yep,
Um, my thing is that infield's getting a little old. I mean, Freeman's 34. Mookie's like what 30. Freeman's like 35 because I think he's older than Mookie. Mookie's 34. Or Muncy. They're all in their 30s.
mhm.
Okay. Now, granted, Mookie is a freak of nature. The guy bowls 300 games for God's sake. So if there's anything Mookie can't do, especially after a full off season and spring training at the position to kind of get his second baseman legs under him. But I do think that could possibly be the only kryptonite in sight. So look, nothing would please me more as an Astros fan to watch the Dodgers just fall on their face. But let's be honest. I mean,
He's player
Shohei's
hating everybody. He's player hating.
that's all right. I can do that. You guys hated us so much for 2017 that you went out and bought everybody in the offseason.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
But
actually
no,
we actually bought a couple. We actually now have a group of people called the Los Angeles Dodgers Shooting Stars.
oh,
I'm
there you
just
see.
teasing you.
I'm telling you, you guys are going to start fighting the Dodgers for the silver boot. Watch. I swear to gosh.
For those of you that don't know what I just did to Dave, if you're not familiar, that's the Astros have kind of like a cheerleading group, and they're called the Astro Shooting Stars. And
Yeah.
so I was
Yeah.
just messing with Dave there, just in
Yeah.
case anybody doesn't know.
Look,
It's
if anybody in Houston needs, there's rent-free space available in LA. Just call Joe Kelly. He will get you suited up. Okay.
that's,
Look, that's enough Dodger talk for the day. All right, I've thrown up in my mouth a little
this guy
bit.
goes 15 minutes on the Astro talk and
Okay.
5 minutes on
It's
the
it's
Dodger
my
talk.
show, okay? And I will do that. Tune
This
in to
guy.
Can of Corn, where we will start off every single show with Astros talk. All right? If you don't like it, get your own show. And like I said, Bill will not be here next week. I am now accepting applications for new co-hosts. Okay.
There
Matter of
you
fact, it
go.
may even
Bada
be a
bing.
revolving co-host. Who knows? All right. Um,
Bada
but
bing.
but anyway, let's move on to something more compelling. Okay.
Okay.
Well, we all know that Paul Skeens had a phenomenal season.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, I'm wondering, does he have the sophomore slump or is it even getting better from here? Bill, what do you think he could do to improve? I mean, you always want to get better, and as good as this year was, I still think there are some places he can improve on. What do you think?
So uh Paul Skeens is a phenomenal talent. A phenomenal talent. I'm going to read you some numbers. Just play by the numbers here for a second. Last season, he was 11-3, ERA 1.96, pitched 133 innings, 170 strikeouts, 5.31 strikes to walk out, 11.5 um, Ks in 9 innings. Here's where I think Paul Skeens may fall. So nowadays we have everything on camera, right? Everything on camera. There is a player named Jared Weaver who pitched for the Angels in '06, was 11-2, started 19 games, came up midseason, 2.56 ERA, 105 strikeouts, 123 innings. Strikeouts per nine was 7.7. People were looking at him and saying, this guy is going to be like the guy. I don't know. Do you remember Jared Weaver?
Yeah.
Okay, so his sophomore year, when everybody had film on him, he was 11-7. His ERA went up from 2.56 to 3.91, 161 innings, 115 strikeouts. So 38 more innings, 10 more strikeouts total. And his strikeouts per nine went down a full 1.3%. Now, that's back in '06, '07. Now we've got everything on film. Is Paul Skeens going to be that good? I think he will be, but I think he's going to have a lot more rough outings than everybody's anticipating.
Yeah, also see Todd Van Poppel. Very similar story.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, yeah, no, I, it's tough to say, man. Like you said, there's film. Everybody's got footage. So there are now game plans that'll be handed out by the batting coaches.
Yeah.
But I do think that the kid is good enough to improve. Because there were some things last year that I kind of noticed how he pitches the right-handers. He could be more aggressive with his fastball on the inner half where I thought he was lacking last year, maybe a bit timid, being a young player.
Yeah.
First time
Going on
seeing
his
some of
own
these guys.
time.
Yeah, I mean, you hang one and you see one park it 450-foot foul, and you kind of like, okay, let me ease back off of that a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, which would also help his first pitch strike percentage. I mean, that's the game for starting pitchers. You want to be ahead in the count, you know, and nothing makes a skipper and a pitching coach happier than first pitch strikes.
Yeah.
So, he can definitely improve there. And while already a valuable pitch, his splinker, which is an awesome name for a pitch, um, half splitter, half sinker, if he were able to refine that movement, that would become a devastating pitch, just screwing people down in the ground. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think it's fun. I think he can play with his sequencing as well. Just how he approaches each batter. Like you said, everybody's got film now, but he's also got film. He's also a year deeper in the league. And pitchers. I mean, think of Greg Maddux. I mean, Greg Maddux came in and you knew what he was going to throw, and he'd still make you look like a little leaguer at the plate. So I definitely think there's room for improvement. Pittsburgh fans, get out there and see this guy. Go support your
Yeah.
team because this is a superstar that doesn't come along um, every day.
Every day. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
So
Again, let's see. I would love to see this guy win 15 games this
yeah,
next season.
yeah.
Um, I
You know,
put a lot of I put a lot of stock on win-loss records. Um, I know a lot of people don't anymore. And Dave, I gotta tell you, I absolutely disdain exit velo, launch angle, velocity. I, you know, I was at a game 2 years ago, a high school game, and one of the kids came up to me. He hit a double off the wall, but he went 1 for 4. And his three at bats where he didn't get on were not very pretty at bats. But he hit a double off the wall. And afterwards, he's like, "Bill, did you my launch angle on that and the exit velo on that was such and such." And I just looked at him. I go, "Yeah, yeah, that's great." And in my mind, I'm thinking nobody. He was a high school senior. I'm thinking nobody's knocking down your door for going 1 for 4 or batting 250 in high school. I don't
yeah.
care how good your launch angle is.
And if your launch angle and exit velo were a little bit better, it would have went out instead
Yeah,
of off the wall.
didn't want to
So
tell him that either.
yeah,
He was
no,
standing next to his girlfriend. I wasn't going
yeah.
to kill him.
Well, yeah. I mean, don't kill the kids
Beep
Friday
beep
night,
bus.
but
Beep beep bus.
still, no. There's much to be said about win
Yeah.
loss, man. I mean that is how starting pitchers help their team. You know what I mean? And
100%.
double digit wins, it almost breeds success. Now the Pirates are still a young team and they've still got a lot of holes to fill. So does he go down like Verlander here in Houston the last couple of years, having great performances, minus last year, and you'll find out the Giants. So, but no, and not just getting any support. There's a lot of games last year that they lost 2-1.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
so
you joke about Verlander, but there's two statistics, and I'm going to get lynched by our good friend Mikey, but there's two people that I'm watching very closely, because they're close enough that are former Astros and or Astros. Jose Altuve for that chase for 3,000, and also Justin Verlander for the chase for 300. Now I think he's got to get like 36 more wins or something like that, but he's young enough where, and he's in good enough shape where he might be able to do it. But Dave, I'm going to tell you,
that may be the
those,
first time anybody's ever called him young. Go ahead. So,
well, listen, he's younger than some countries, right?
yeah,
Um,
well, that's
but the, but yeah, but because guys are getting generational money so soon in their careers, we may not see a lot of these dudes do this.
no, no,
And
and it's just where the game is now. I mean, the amount of money being spent, you can't blame a guy for going out there and cashing out. I
no,
mean,
not at all. Not
One wrong
funny,
move and your career's done. I mean, you got to get it when you can, you know. So
at least.
definitely
Okay.
gonna be fun. I tell you one guy who who is stirring the pot a little bit. And shout out to our own beloved Mets Meg here. Stephen Cohen has come out recently, just absolutely brutal honest about the negotiations with the polar bear, Pete Alonso. I think he was quoted as saying something like, "I don't like the negotiations, flat out," you know. Um, and understandably, Alonso's coming off what was probably his worst major league season. You know, all of his numbers were down. Slugging percentage was down. Career lows. You know, for a full game. So I still think he's a legitimate threat and a perfect companion for Soto and Vientos. But when the owner comes out and just speaks of the displeasure, I mean, is that writing on the wall? I mean, are his days done, or is there a chance that they can smooth this out and and make it happen, man?
Yeah, it's yes. In both segments, yes, yes, yes. And again, when you're negotiating, you got to negotiate with from a position of power. And Pete Alonso has no power. Steve Cohn has all the power. Pete Alonso can say, "Hey, I'm a fan favorite," and Steve could say, "Yeah, awesome, go be a fan favorite someplace else."
Yeah,
And so
you're only the sixth all time home run leader in Mets history. I mean,
well, again, it doesn't. I mean, I
that's what
can
I'm
give you
saying.
a
Like he doesn't care. Like it's all about
mhm.
about the numbers to him. And
I I can give you six people on the Mets fans right now that could care less, and Megan's not one of them. Megan wants him back, but I can give you six Mets fans like today that don't care if he comes back.
yeah, oh no, I'm in Houston, and we got a whole lot about a fellow named Bregman about the same way. Like you know, once the bad medicine is in your mouth, can you get over the taste? You know, the bad taste. Should be
Yep,
fun
no,
though. I mean, the problem is that I think the people that were in the market, and this again goes for Bregman as well. The people that were in the market for that position, they stuck their toes in the water, but they weren't ready to jump in, and they've made moves accordingly. So I think the pool is getting smaller for these guys.
100%,
Of them
100%.
turning down. I mean, I know Alonso had three phenomenal offers for what he is. So only time will tell, man.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, they got the big splash in Soto, but I definitely think that they're going to need some help, and I see him helping the lineup. But the longer it goes on, like you said, Mets fans just have a bad taste in their mouth, and is it too much to overcome?
yeah. You can't. Yeah, yeah. Yep, yep, yep. No, 100%, 100%.
Anyway, look
Let's
here.
go off the record, Dave.
Let me take a second before we do that. If you're listening to this, wherever you listen to your podcast, thank you for tuning in. If you're
Mhm.
watching this on YouTube, go ahead and do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. It is the best way that you can show us support. The easiest way that you can show us support. If you want to go further than that, please don't hesitate. Jump on over to topfanrivalry.com. Get your locker room access. People, let me tell you. There is so much quality content being put out. Um, we've got new podcasts this year with new hosts, and these people know their baseball, and it's a great listen. While you're there, you can go on and go to the dugout shop there. You can get your the T-shirt, the TFR T-shirts. You can get your custom baseball cards. You can jump on the box breaks by Mike over there at Heads Up Sports Cards. So go on over topfanrivalry.com. Use the discount code Big Dave. I will save you 10% across the board, anything you need, okay? Topfanrivalry.com. That's where you need to go. You can check out old episodes, get your locker room access. There's tons of content. You may even see an article written by yours truly here and there to show my Pulitzer Prize winning prowess.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Okay, Bill, we had a great show so far. We had a couple good topics. We spoke Astros, we spoke Dodgers. We talked about Paul Skeens. We even got a little polar bear sighting here. But let's go off the record, man.
Yeah.
I am ecstatic because here in the last week or so, the Hall of Fame class of 2025 was announced. Um, I'll go on and say it first. Billy Wags, lights out. I mean, the guy who goes down as the greatest closer in Astros history. I think his Hall of Fame spot was well earned, a little bit longer in the tooth than he should have been. He made it on his last and final attempt on his 10th ballot there. But I mean, he makes the Hall, and he's come out this week, and he's going to be wearing an Astros cap. As a fan, I mean, it's always nice to see your guy go in there. But I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Wagner's 33.2 strikeout rate is the highest among pitchers with at least 900 innings. Okay. Consequently, his 186 opponent average is the lowest in the modern era for pitchers with at least 900 innings. Um, he's one of only 8 pitchers in the 400 save club. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I'm happy to see that, and I know you're a Billy Wags fan as too well too. So always happy to see that as well. But not to be a homer, we'll talk about what I think is the biggest disgrace I've seen since Billy Wagner having to wait 10 years to get in, and that is
Okay.
Ichiro Suzuki not getting in on a
Yes.
unanimous vote.
Yes.
Bill, how does this happen?
I'm telling you what, I'm not going to buy that sports writer's book. If that person gets identified and he says I wanted to do it because I wanted to write a book or whatever, I'm not going to buy it. I'll tell you right now, it's
I,
not going to
I
happen.
I have a theory.
Go ahead.
It's obviously a Yankees beat writer. Obviously, because who else would only want Mariano as being the only unanimous vote? If there is a
It,
guy that deserved to do it,
mhm.
to get in unanimously on the first ballot, it's Ichiro. I mean, this guy personified hitting. He
Yeah,
was the best
yeah,
hitter that's come along since a fella by the name of Tony Gwynn, who was probably the greatest ever. Um, Tony tipped his cap to Ichiro. Okay, Ichiro looked up to Tony. I don't understand it. I mean, of course, I'm glad he's in, and Ichiro's such a professional. He wouldn't even comment on it. But that's what we're here for. I think it's absolutely a travesty.
that's what we're here for. No, I listen. I agree with you. You know, they're actually the MLB channel. Bob Costas does a lot of just these different interviews, and he interviewed Tony Gwynn and Rod Carew on the same segment about Ichiro. And both of these guys were saying how good of a hitter he was. When Rod Carew and Tony Gwynn say that you're a good hitter, you're doing something right.
Yeah, I mean, you could go. I wouldn't argue with anybody that said that Tony Gwynn and Carew were the best hitters in baseball. And when they're giving praise to a guy, I mean, Ichiro, he did it, and I think the way he did it, he was not a loud guy. He wasn't braggadocious. He just went out there and flat out got it done, day in,
Flat out got
day
it
out.
done.
Didn't miss games. Consummate professional. Great locker room leader. You've never heard anybody come out and have anything negative to say about Ichiro.
No, no,
So
not at all.
shout out to Ichiro. It is one of the only jerseys that isn't Astros on the front that I own, and that's just because I'm waiting on the day that I can get that signed. Because that, like I said, he's one of the best to do it of all time.
The I will tell you there was a couple of travesties that I thought in the voting this this year, and I'm going to read you a stat. You tell me if you think this individual deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Um, this gentleman had amassed 2,452 hits, 353 RBIs. I'm sorry, 353 home runs, 1,391 RBIs, had a career batting average of 277. Is that Hall of Fame caliber.
It's better than Hall of Very Good.
That guy went from 7 point or 8.1 down to 5.1. He almost got kicked off the ballot this year. He lost 8 votes. Torrey Hunter belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no. Uh, let's be honest, true fans, and I think we've been in agreement for a long time. The
Yeah.
whole writers vote, I think that's just outdated. Um, in the day and age now with social media and everything, there's so many places to get your information. I just think it's a dated system. I think something needs to be done with it, along with buying half the free agents and prorating money. But we'll get to that later. Um, as he yawns. But no, I totally agree. Torrey Hunter, um, consummate, you know, superstar. And I mean, he's not Hall of Very Good. He's Hall of Fame material. Look, another thing that I have a problem with, and don't at me, okay, Yankee fans out there or Indians fans or CC Sabathia making it on the first ballot. Uh, let's be honest. I mean, the guy had a great career, no doubt, without a doubt. Okay. Um, just a power pitcher, big guy. And I'm a big guy. I love seeing a big, hefty guy on the mound, a la Bartolo Colon, CC. You know what I'm saying? Like, get out there and fling it, big guy. But numbers for numbers, how is Sabathia in and Kurt Schilling isn't?
Yeah. Partially because Kurt Schilling's Kurt Schilling. When he lied in front of Congress, that
Look,
killed him.
look here, man. Do you think Pete Rose should be in the Hall?
Yes.
Based on what? On
Yes,
the
based
field, right?
based on what he did on the field. But Kurt,
You put CC's numbers up with Schilling's numbers, and Schilling surpasses him in almost every single category.
yeah, and the problem that the Hall of Fame really has is they look at it, it's almost like you're running for president
Very
because we expect our presidents to be perfect. And all of these men and women who have run for president in the history of the US have all had their skeletons in the closet. All of them.
okay, and I totally agree. But how many skeletons are in the Hall of Fame already with the turn of century players?
Oh, you, exactly. I
Ty
don't
Cobb,
disagree with you.
Ty
I don't
Cobb, for Pete's sake.
we
Okay,
but we look at guys and we expect them to be perfect, right? Alex Rodriguez admitted that he used steroids for 2 seasons, admitted it and stopped it. And he even gave up his dealers and everything. Yet he's not like they're not even considering him. His numbers aren't moving. But Manny, the way that Manny acted, Manny Ramirez, he'll never get in because the sports writers just don't like him, right?
I don't know. I hope that there's a swing. Um, I I am not an Alex Rodriguez fan, but like I said, on the field, one of the best ever. As
Yeah.
far as next year, I think the movement is looking good. Carlos Beltran should get in next year, I believe. Um, Andrew Jones, um, Chase Utley, is he a Hall of Famer? What do you think?
Yes, I do. I
Yeah, I
do
mean, you
think that
got
Chase
guys like
Utley.
that. You got guys like Andy Pettit. You know, I think he also gets a rub the wrong way just for not being, as clean cut as old Ward Cleaver there. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just don't like the voting system. I think it's outdated. I think something needs to be done about it. But
Yeah.
this is
Yeah, no,
baseball.
and next year's going to be interesting because Carlos may get in. Andrew Jones may or may not get in, although with a 254 batting average, I mean, Andrew Jones you're going to paint him with the same paintbrush as Dale Murphy. He may have been the guy that stayed 1 or 2 seasons too long, which has caused Murph to miss the Hall of Fame,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I guess my argument is, we may see a year next year where nobody gets in.
I think Beltron gets in. He was somewhere around 70% this year. So
He was 70.3%. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, um, I think he gets in. I think it'd be a shame not to have Manny in. Manny was so much fun for baseball. That's something that I also think they need to take into consideration. What they did to promote the game. You know what I mean? Like as far as let's be honest, Manny wasn't a role model or necessarily the cookie cutter ambassador, but he made people watch the game.
Mhm. Yeah, no, it's,
Oh,
I mean, Jimmy Rollins. Here's another guy who has 2,455 hits, and he's got 470 stolen bases, yet he's got 18% of the vote.
yeah.
I mean,
Omar Vizquel.
well, Omar had some issues.
Hey,
So,
but I mean, he's got more hits. He's got more hits than Rollins. So you know what I'm saying? It's just funny
yeah,
how some stats line up and they're obvious, and some don't. I agree. I think it's become more of a popularity contest, and it's gotten very political. Um, but
I,
such is life, man.
I was surprised that Hanley Ramirez didn't get one vote. That surprised me because he did have a good career. It surprised me that Curtis Granderson got 3 votes. When I look at Curtis Granderson's numbers, I don't look and say, "Oh, that's a Hall of Fame guy."
Yeah,
Little surprise.
I don't even think Curtis Granderson's mom looks at
Yeah,
it and goes, "Yeah, he's a Hall of Fame guy."
yeah. Andrew Jones, but the the one that kills me is uh, is Brian McCann got 7 votes. I mean, Brian McCann will always be known for me as the guy that stopped Carlos Gomez from touching home plate after he stared at a ball. You know the video I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm like, that's a player's catcher right there. That's a pitcher's catcher right there.
That's an old school catcher mentality. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the school where the catcher was the baddest guy on the field.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is like, you ain't effing touching my plate. You stare at the ball and watch it. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so I don't know. It'll be
Anyways,
fun. Bill, thank you for being here again as usual. I think
yeah,
this was a great show. We covered a lot of topics. We talked Astros, we talked Dodgers, we talked Skeens, we talked Mets trouble, and we had a little Hall of Fame discussion here.
yeah,
Top fan rivalry followers, I couldn't thank you enough for tuning in each and every week here to Can of Corn. Be sure to come on back and kick it with me and Baseball Bill or whoever is over there in that little window.
yeah, yeah. Listen, yeah, because you're taking applications. Everybody, like Dave said at the beginning, don't forget yesterday, Wednesday, was another card break announcement, and we will have these shows by the time you get this. We will be 6 days away from pitchers and catchers reporting. We will be exactly 8 days away from I'm sorry, 9 days away from everybody reporting. And so the next Can of Corn episode will have to do with injury reports, will have to do with different things. We will have a Bregman watch if we need to, and the Pete Alonso watch. But Dave, I just love this show. So thank you so much for everything you do.
No,
And
man, look here, and I forgot to mention, go in over when you're over there at topfanrivalry.com and in the shop, get your official corny hat. Okay, it's a
yes,
new era 3930. It's our official mascot, Corny, the great corny one. Get your hat; they fit great. And use the discount code Big Dave. Save yourself 10%. As
yeah,
usual, I am Big Dave. That is Baseball Bill. This has been Can of Corn, your favorite show on Top Fan Rivalry. Come on back next time. Live the life you love the life you live, and as always, go Stros.
talk to you later.